In April 1981, a gruesome multiple homicide shocked the small town of Keddie, California. The brutal murders of 3 individuals in a remote cabin continue to baffle investigators to this day. On the chilly morning of April 12, 1981, the tranquility of the Keddie Resort in Northern California was shattered by a scene of unspeakable horror. In cabin 28, the air was heavy with an eerie silence that belied the carnage that had unfolded within its walls. Sue Sharp, a 36-year-old single mother, had been spending a quiet evening at the cabin with her children and a friend. As dawn's light began to filter through the trees, a macabre tableau emerged in the dimly lit room. Sue's lifeless body lay sprawled on a blood-soaked couch, her face frozen in an expression of terror. Her hands were bound with medical tape, her throat slit, and the brutality of the attack was evident in the gruesome wounds that marred her body. In the adjacent room, the lifeless forms of Sue's children, 15-year-old John and 17-year-old Dana, lay in their own pools of blood. Like their mother, they too had been bound and bludgeoned to death. The savage violence inflicted upon them left the room a nightmarish scene of devastation. Beside them lay the body of Dana Wingate, a family friend who had been visiting. His remains were contorted in a grotesque pose, his head and face marred by the same brutality that had claimed the lives of the Sharps. The cabin itself bore the marks of a desperate struggle. Bloodstains and signs of a violent struggle were etched into the floors, walls, and furnishings. The atmosphere was one of dread, as if the very air held the lingering echoes of the terror that had unfolded. The surviving inhabitants of the cabin, Sue's 2 younger sons, had slept through the nightmarish events that had unfolded just a few feet away from them. Their slumber had been undisturbed by the harrowing sounds of violence that had left their family shattered. As law enforcement officials arrived on the scene, a chilling reality began to sink in. This was a crime of unparalleled brutality, a crime that defied comprehension. The community of Keddie, a quiet town surrounded by the serene beauty of nature, was now forever scarred by a scene of horror that would haunt the collective consciousness for decades to come. The crime scene was chaotic, and evidence was contaminated due to the initial responders' mishandling. The killings appeared to be brutal and personal, but motives and suspects remained unclear. The cabin's other inhabitants, including Sue Sharp's 2 younger sons, were unharmed and asleep in a nearby room during the murders. Despite interviews and investigations, the case went cold due to a lack of substantial evidence. Theories emerged, including suggestions of drug-related connections, personal vendettas, or even random acts of violence. The mystery was exacerbated by the absence of signs of forced entry, suggesting that the killers may have been familiar to the victims. Beyond the immediate shock of the Keddie Cabin murders, a deeper layer of eeriness and mystery emerged from the cabin's past. The disturbing events of April 12, 1981, were not the first time the cabin had been touched by the supernatural or the macabre. Long before the tragic murders, rumors circulated about strange occurrences within the cabin's walls. Guests who had stayed there reported unsettling experiences, ranging from inexplicable shadows moving through the rooms to unexplained drafts that seemed to whisper secrets in the night. Some even claimed to have witnessed apparitions of unknown figures, their presence leaving a chilling imprint on the cabin's history. The cabin's unsettling reputation was compounded by tales of a resident ghost, a phantom that seemed to roam the premises. While some brushed off these stories as mere folklore, others couldn't shake the feeling that there was something inherently eerie about Cabin 28. As investigators delved into the history of the cabin, they uncovered reports of previous tenants who had been driven to unease by unexplained noises, objects moving on their own, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. The cabin's walls seemed to hold secrets that defied rational explanation. The connection between the cabin's ominous history and the brutal events of April 12, 1981, fueled speculation. Some wondered if the supernatural forces that had allegedly haunted the cabin were somehow connected to the violence that unfolded. The overlapping narratives of real-life horror and paranormal activity added an additional layer of complexity to the case, as if the cabin itself was a character in the chilling story. While some dismissed the idea of a supernatural link, others couldn't help but wonder if the darkness that had seeped into the cabin's history had somehow contributed to the tragic events. It was as if the cabin had absorbed the fear, unease, and terror that its occupants had experienced over the years, culminating in the nightmare that unfolded on that fateful April morning. The Keddie Cabin Murders have given rise to a myriad of theories and speculations, each attempting to unravel the mystery behind the brutal and seemingly senseless killings that occurred on that haunting April night. One of the earliest theories suggested that the murders might have been the result of a domestic dispute or a personal vendetta. This theory speculated that the victims knew their attackers, which would explain the lack of signs of forced entry. Personal conflicts, perhaps involving local acquaintances or acquaintances from previous locations where the family lived, might have led to a violent confrontation. Other theory says that the remote location of Keddie led to speculation about the possibility of drug-related activity in the area. Some theorized that the murders might have been connected to drug deals gone wrong or conflicts within the drug trade. This theory gained traction due to the suspicious nature of the crimes and the potential motive for a violent altercation. Another theory that gained attention was that the victims were connected to or witnesses of organized crime activities. It was suggested that the murders might have been a message to the victims or a means of silencing potential informants. The brutality of the killings could be seen as a warning to others who might cross the criminal element. Some speculated that the Keddie Cabin Murders might have been the work of a serial killer passing through the area. This theory was fueled by the particularly violent nature of the crimes and the apparent randomness of the victims. The idea that the perpetrator might have struck elsewhere before or after the Keddie incident added an unsettling layer to the case. Given the cabin's history of alleged paranormal activity, a theory emerged that supernatural forces might have played a role in the murders. While largely dismissed by law enforcement, this theory resonated with those who believed in the cabin's ominous aura. Some suggested that the tragic events might have been influenced by malevolent entities or curses associated with the cabin. As with many unsolved cases, speculation about law enforcement involvement was raised. The mishandling of evidence and the questionable initial response led some to consider the possibility of a cover-up or corruption within the local police. However, no concrete evidence emerged to support this theory. The passage of time didn't diminish the interest in the Keddie Cabin Murders. If anything, it intensified the public's fascination with the case. Decades after the horrifying events of that April night, a renewed interest emerged, driven by the advent of new technology, increased public awareness, and the tireless efforts of amateur sleuths. With the rise of the internet, online forums, and true crime communities, the Keddie Cabin case found a new generation of amateur detectives eager to uncover the truth. Enthusiasts dissected every available detail, scrutinized old news articles, and shared theories on dedicated websites and social media platforms. This collective effort generated fresh interest in the case and led to the discovery of overlooked evidence and potential leads. In the digital age, true crime podcasts and documentaries have become powerful tools for keeping cold cases in the public eye. The Keddie Cabin case became a focus of multiple true crime productions, including podcasts that re-examined the evidence, interviewed witnesses and experts, and delved deep into the various theories surrounding the case. This newfound media attention generated a surge of public interest and reignited discussions about the case. Amid the renewed interest, law enforcement agencies also took another look at the Keddie Cabin case. In 2013, the Plumas County Sheriff's Office formed a task force dedicated to reviewing the evidence, re-interviewing witnesses, and exploring potential leads that had emerged from public attention. While no significant breakthroughs were publicly announced, the renewed focus demonstrated the enduring impact of public involvement on law enforcement efforts. As armchair sleuths and professionals alike dug deeper into the case, previously unexamined details were brought to light. Potential witnesses and persons of interest were identified, and connections that had eluded investigators for years began to emerge. DNA evidence was reevaluated using advanced forensic techniques, providing renewed hope for a breakthrough. The Keddie Cabin Murders, with their chilling combination of brutality, eerie history, and unsolved status, continue to haunt the collective consciousness of true crime enthusiasts, investigators, and the community of Keddie, California. Decades have passed since that fateful April morning in 1981, and yet the memories of the victims, Sue, John, and Dinah Sharp and Dana Wingate, remain vivid. The cabin that once served as the backdrop for family vacations and idyllic getaways has been forever transformed into a symbol of unspeakable horror and mystery. The Keddie Cabin case has transcended time and borders, captivating the imaginations of people worldwide. Online forums, podcasts, documentaries, and true crime enthusiasts have breathed new life into the investigation, and the pursuit of answers has become a shared mission. The passion of amateur sleuths and the tenacity of law enforcement professionals have renewed the hope that someday the truth behind the gruesome murders will be revealed. As the years go by, the Keddie Cabin case remains a stark reminder of the limits of human understanding and the complexities of criminal investigations. Theories have risen and fallen, suspects have been considered and discarded, but the ultimate truth remains elusive. The legacy of the Keddie Cabin case serves as a haunting cautionary tale, a reminder that evil deeds can have far-reaching effects that reverberate through time. The victims are not forgotten. They live on through the efforts of those who seek answers and strive for justice. In the end, the Keddie Cabin Murders stand as a testament to the mysteries that lie beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives and the power of the human spirit to never give up, even in the face of darkness. The haunting mystery continues to grip the hearts and minds of all who encounter it, forever etching the Keddie Cabin case into the annals of true crime history.